One of the problems is that while the days on the tracker do look and feel good, those days on the tracker kind of begin to be a part of our identity. If we're doing good, we've got this identity of success. But if we lose those days on the tracker, we've got an identity of failure. All right, brothers, here we are. We're doing it again. Yaden, good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Good to see
As
you,
they
Matt.
say, it's good to be seen, as they say.
It is good to be seen. Better than the alternative.
Indeed, sir. Indeed, sir. Brothers, welcome to another episode of the Pour to Purpose podcast. Coming to you live. I think we're live a couple places here, live in the Pour to Purpose Facebook group, maybe in Facebook,
Yes,
maybe on
indeed.
Instagram, depending on where you're catching us. But we're honored to have you with us here today, brothers, and we're here to dig into a conversation that I think is important. And it kind of gets back to one of these primary themes that we emphasize here in the community, and that's this emphasis on progress over perfection.
In any
Right?
area of life, progress
And
over perfection.
absolutely. And it
But no more
reminds
than with
me,
this.
absolutely. And it reminds me of, and this idea really came to me through my work over in the 12-step communities. And there was this gentleman who had a lot of seniority in the program. Not seniority over anyone else, but he's had a lot. He's very seasoned in the program, I guess I could say. He's been around the 12-step rooms a lot, and he shared this idea. And he said that, and I'll give you the essence of the whole idea in one nutshell, and then we'll break it down for you today. He said that sobriety is quantitative, but recovery is cumulative. Now, what does that mean? What he offered was that sobriety is what we all, or many of us, long for. It's that days on the counter. It's that days on the tracker, right? It's something that I've gotten focused on myself, right? But the problem with that is that if we focus too much on the days on the tracker, should we have a reset? Should we find ourselves back at day zero? The feeling can be of failure. And what he said, what he offers, right, as a counter to that is that what really matters is recovery. It's really what we're doing day to day, because we might reset our days on the tracker, right? The number, the quantitative value, but recovery is cumulative. And what really matters is the work we've been putting in over the years. We don't lose the lessons. We don't lose the, all the insights along the way. So that's what we're going to dig in here today, this distinction between recovery and sobriety, quantitative versus cumulative. All right.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Yeah. So let's dig into that a little bit, shall we?
Absolutely.
Right. So how many of you brothers can relate to getting these big streaks on the board, right? A week, a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, Yaden. Right. And it's easy to get focused on the number and get excited about that. But what happens, brothers, should you find yourself back at day zero, right? As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode today, it's like, should we find ourselves back at day zero? The story that can begin to come up is failure.
Oh man, absolutely.
Right. And I can speak to this, right? It's like the story that comes up is failure. Back at day zero, I screwed up again, right? And there's this feeling like, man, I got to start all over. But what's really important to remember is, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode here today, that's not the actual truth. If we've been putting in our work every single day, showing up the way in which we do here inside the Purpose community, hitting our core 4, being active in our recovery, then we don't lose the lessons that we've picked up along the way. And one of the problems is that while the days on the tracker do look and feel good, those days on the tracker kind of begin to be a part of our identity, right? And if we're doing good, if we got a lot of days on the tracker, we've got this identity of, success. But if we lose those days on the tracker, we're back to day zero. We've got an identity of failure, and that's this distinction between perfectionism, right, and performance based growth versus just progress over time.
You know, when you said identity based, I remember a conversation with my dad years ago. So for some context, I was a Rotarian for about a decade. I was in a
Wow.
Rotary Club, a local Rotary Club here in South Carolina. I was a Rotarian for a decade. I love Rotary, big fan. My kids are to the age where I don't have the time that I can dedicate to being a club member anymore. My grandfather was a Rotarian, and my dad has told me the story because with Rotary, attendance is really big. If you have perfect attendance, you get an award.
Yep.
And my dad tells me the story. So my dad asked his dad, my grandfather, like, Grandpa, why don't you go to Rotary every single week? He's like, because I don't want perfect attendance to be my identity in Rotary.
Wow.
And I just had that memory just popped back into my head. If you have 10 years of perfect attendance, now it's like, "Well, I can't miss it." And it sabotages the intent of being a Rotarian. Yeah, showing up is important,
Yep.
but the goal of Rotary is service above self.
Yeah.
I think about in my own life where I keep track of my steps with my watch.
Yep.
And a couple years ago, like year and a half ago, I had 208 days in a row of 10,000 steps.
I remember that. I remember that.
And then I missed it by like 300 steps. In fact, I just reset my step counter a couple days ago because I missed it by 83 steps getting to the 10,000 step count for the day. I'm like, "Grrr! Dang it, so close." Now it sets back to zero.
Yeah.
But when I look at the steps I've taken over the past since I've been wearing a Garmin watch, my average is way above 10,000. It's like
Mm.
12 and a half, 13,000 steps a day for years.
Wow.
But my identity is not my identity is more of I'm active
Yeah.
more than I get 10,000 steps every day no matter what.
Yep.
My
Yep.
identity in recovery is I am recovering actively, not
Yep.
just I have X number of days sober. Yeah,
Yep.
that's critical stuff, man. Critical stuff. Uh, Speaking of recovery, right? If we're talking about sobriety and recovery not being the same thing, what
Right.
is recovery? Let me
Right.
jump into that for a minute because sobriety is the byproduct of
Yes.
active recovery.
Yes.
You can white knuckle your way through a finite amount of days with sobriety, right? I remember seeing a video on the Insta, I think Pastor was like, day one, not eating cookies. Click. Day two, not eating cookies. Click. Day one, not eating cookies. Day one, it's like 20 minutes later, day one, not day one again. Not
Yeah.
right. You can white knuckle your way through a finite amount of time until your willpower gets used up. And it's like, man, I got to go back to this that I know I'm going to get a dopamine hit from the I need
Yep.
my pain pill. Recovery is recovery's intense.
Yeah.
Recovery takes work,
Hmm.
right? How many times you listening, brother, listening to this, you've heard like, have you tried just stopping?
Right.
Like, it's not that simple. Yes, I've
Yeah.
tried just stopping. Like, all you have to do is not do it.
Yep.
That's not recovery. That's just distance and sobriety.
Yep.
Active recovery, it's doing the inner work. It's building new habits. It's facing those emotional wounds or discovering the emotional wounds and then facing them,
Yep.
building that emotional strength. So when you run into pain in life, it's like, okay, this is painful. This is uncomfortable. I do not. I don't want to be where I am right now. I don't want to be having these emotions. This is painful. What can you do instead? Not just, I'm going to stay away from building that emotional strength. Like, okay, this is emotionally pain. This is emotional pain. What is the underlying need that is not being met?
Yeah.
Right? Today, like for example, we talk about hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Just today, like I was in this fog and I was like, what is going on? And then it hit me. It's like, oh, actually, I checked in on our Voxer chat. I went to, like, this is real talk. Today, this happened to me. I went to Aldi to get some groceries. Wednesday at noon. I wouldn't have expected anything to be triggering. And I walk into Aldi and I'm like, what is going on right now? These women seem to be out of place, right? Smoking hot women throughout. I'm like, what is going? I'm just walking around, like having to, like, looking at my shoes, trying to, like, because I could just, like, oh, I wonder what aisle they're going down. I'm like, no, we're not doing that today, right? And I checked in on Voxer, like, guys, my inner addict is yelling at me right now. Like, let's just wander around the store and get an eyeful. And I was like, okay, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. And then I got back to my office and like, oh my gosh, I am exhausted.
There it is.
I am so tired. Laid down on the couch, took a 30-minute nap, got back up. Now I'm feeling energized, good to
Yep.
go, right?
Yep.
Being able to have that awareness, that is the act of recovery. Building that awareness, understanding what's going on inside, rebuilding that character, that integrity, the truth. And recovery is not something that you lose in a moment.
Yeah.
It's something that you build over time,
Yep.
right? A relapse, resetting your day counter, that doesn't erase boundaries you built. That doesn't
Right.
erase lessons you've learned. It doesn't destroy the man you're becoming. You don't go back to zero. You get to go forward with new feedback and more
Yep.
information.
Yep.
That's the kicker.
Yep. Beautiful stuff, man. Um, and as you talk about like this sobriety journey and this, you talk about sobriety being the byproduct of an active recovery journey. We often talk about how like it's like riding a bike. Like every day I need to get up and I need to actively pedal, right? The pedals on this bike, or else eventually the bike's going to tip over. I can coast a little bit, but I need an active recovery framework in place. And that's really what it looks like. And that's what we built here inside the Pørn to Purpose community.
Yeah.
Daily habits, daily rituals, daily rhythms that equal our daily active recovery framework. Critical.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we don't lose that. We don't lose that over time. So why does sobriety alone keep us stuck? Right. Sobriety
Good question.
creates anxiety around failure or the fear of failure. It makes the purpose as opposed to purpose, right? Where we're going,
Yeah.
the focus, or makes the focus versus failure. It keeps you reactive, right? Versus responsive or kind of rooted in who you're committed to being.
You're playing
And
defense.
absolutely. And it triggers shame, right? The moment we slip or act out, right? And what I have written here is you can be sober and still weak. Like I got a good friend in who's come through alcohol recovery, and he's like a year sober after a lifetime of struggling. And I'm really impressed and amazed and inspired by his growth. But he's like, you know what? I had a lot of years of white-knuckling it, right? And I might have been
Yeah.
like abstinent from alcohol, but I wasn't really sober. I wasn't emotionally sober. And I get that, right? So you can be sober and still be white-knuckling and still be weak. But a man in recovery gets stronger even when he fails, even when he falls down, right? Because we've been doing the day-to-day work. And because whenever we do fall down, we stand back up, we brush ourselves off, we step into the light, we own it, and we learn our lessons and we move forward, right? It's a big difference versus
100%.
the failure identity.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the ways that you can shift from this sobriety to recovery, I think about what you were talking, like chasing sobriety alone. I think
Yeah.
about, so I lift weights, I do strength training, I do endurance training, things like that. And I think of people I knew in college that look ripped and fit, right? They look like they would be on a cover of a magazine, but they don't actually have any fitness or strength to back it up. It's just like 100% genetic. They just can't gain any fat ever, no matter what they eat. But they can't run a 5K. They can't bench press their body weight. They can't pick up their body weight and hold it.
Yep.
They don't, it's kind of that. It takes action and intentionality to build strength, to build fitness, to build endurance. It doesn't just happen. Same thing with recovery. It takes action and intentionality. So here's some ways that we can shift the conversation, shift the lens from focusing on the sobriety
Yep.
to the recovery. One, you got to stop just tracking days. If you're only tracking days, it's like, hey, I got 5 days in a row, no. That's not enough.
Yeah.
That's not enough. The things that you should be tracking, like what kind of decisions are you making? What kind of actions are you taking? What's your mindset shift? What are some wins that you have from the dealing with your emotions in a healthy way? It's like, oh man, I got upset with my girlfriend and I actually had a conversation with her about what I was feeling instead of just withdrawing, going into my cave internally and not dealing with it. We have to, if you're only tracking days, you're tracking the wrong thing. We got to track the things other than just the days.
Yep.
And then when you're in this recovery journey, when there's a reset, and I say when because it's about progress over perfection. We
Yep.
don't get this right out of the
Mhm.
gate. It takes learning what's going on inside. When there's a relapse, like it's like a check engine light. Bing, check engine.
Yep.
Your engine hasn't died, but you got to check something.
Yep.
We have the 0-day doc that we use, where it's like, what was going on leading up to the relapse? Well, I didn't get enough sleep all week. I had this huge project for my project final for my college graduation that I had due.
Yep. Yep.
I wasn't eating well. Who knows what? I flew across the country. I was jet lagged. Who knows what it might be? Something else is going on that's leading up to the relapse, and doing the work to figure out what was going on so you're aware, like, oh, now I know when I'm really tired, I'm in the danger zone. And then the number three, so we got one, stop only tracking days. Two, treat relapse as a check engine light, not a death sentence. Do some diagnostics, figure out what was going on.
Yep.
And then three, invest in long-term transformation. Books, mentorship, community, structure, inner healing, identity work. Own it. Brother, I'm going to give you a hard truth. It's not your fault that you're a porn addict. You're like, that sounds like an easy truth. Well, the hard part is next. It is your responsibility to do the work that it takes to recover.
Yep.
It's not my fault I got addicted to porn. It just happened.
Mhm.
It is my responsibility to do the work to recover from it.
Yep.
Recovery is who you're becoming when no one is watching. Sobriety just happens to be one of the results.
Yep. Amen to that.
Any thoughts on that, Matt, before we wrap it up?
No, brother, that's it, man. You nailed it. I love that. I love that. So for those brothers who are ready to um, begin shifting from days on the tracker, begin shifting
Yeah.
from sobriety to what real recovery looks like what does that look like, Aiden?
So we talked about those 3 steps. Don't just track days. Relapse is a diagnostic opportunity. Invest in long-term transformation. If you're looking for long-term transformation, if you're looking for that number 3, right? We invite you. Check us out. Purpose.com. Get on a call with me. Get on a call with Matt, with one of us, to talk about recovery. Check out the Liberation Bootcamp. We have the community. We have the tools. We have the coaching. We have the training to help you figure this out. I'm not just a coach. I'm also a client, right? Men's Hair Club.
That's it.
Obviously, I'm
That's
not
it.
Men's Hair Club. But we're inviting you into something deeper, to build recovery that is sustainable long term.
Yep.
There's a difference between surviving and becoming truly free. We want you to
Yep.
become truly free, brother. If you want to reach out to us, check us out at purpose.com. You can schedule a call with me or with Matt from there. Totally confidential. We want to hear your story. Share, learn what you're doing. We can share how it works. We want you to thrive in life. Recovery is not a number, it's a new identity.
Yep.
You cannot walk it alone. So the invitation is there, brother. And on that note, we'll see you on the next episode.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for joining here today, brothers. Yaden,
Always
thank
good
you so
to
much,
be
brother.
on the podcast with you, man. Talking
Indeed.
about every man's favorite subject.
Indeed. Brothers, we appreciate you being here today. Look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Look forward to having a conversation with you. Peace and power wherever you are in the world, brothers. We are noble men.
Noble men.